The silent killer is continuing at work. Inflation. Just like carbon monoxide. Doesn't let you know, it just knocks you out. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, July the 14th. And as we say, inflation is a killer. It is a hidden tax. It is a way that government gets to tax you as they continue to try and protect you. They tell you they're protecting you, but they are really just stealing more of your money. If you understand the taxes that you pay on every product that is now inflated, so you get to pay more. And the government gets to take more of your money. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful business model when you can just fuck your citizens and steal their money through taxes because you overspend and you oversteal. But again, is the debt going to be the sinking of the American empire? We are in so much debt, and of course, interest rates and the rate cut talk is out once again. Now, they're not cutting rates for you. They want to cut rates for themselves so they can kind of relower their debt payments. But at the end of the day, they cannot really legitimately cut rates. And yes, I know somebody's going to say, but there's a 93% probability that in September, they're going to cut rates. Well, there was a 93% probability in March, April, May, June, July. Now we're September. And I'm telling you that, in my opinion, there will be no rate cut unless we are truly in a recession that the government is going to admit to. Okay. Again, I would say that more than 50% of our population is in a recession now. But again, we continue to listen to the bullshit that is spun on the media networks, and they give us all these ridiculous stories and talk about CPI numbers and PPI numbers. Well, let's talk about the PPI number. Last month, which is Producer Price Index, last month surprisingly missed. Well, Friday, they came out with this month, which was hotter than expected. The market still managed to rally hard, but they revised last month, which is what they always do. Remember, people only like to look at the headline number. They don't like to do the actual research, and too many of you believe that bullshit that is written and is put in. But if you look deeper into a lot of the statistics, you will find out that what you are hearing is all bullshit and garbage and not really the true facts. The true facts is that we're in trouble. That's a fact, that the economy is in trouble. Okay? You look at fast food restaurants, how the hell are they going to make and survive through what's going on? Okay? They have soaring employment cost, especially in the state of California. And of course, now we have soaring ground beef prices, which obviously many of them are hamburger chains and things like that, or used ground beef. And we have soaring prices there. And of course, our poor farmers, our poor producers are getting destroyed because other than cattle, which is the only commodity that is at reasonable prices, the rest, they're having trouble. The input to produce either corn, wheat, soybeans, or any of the other products that you use every day, the input costs are going up dramatically. From fuel cost, from heating oil costs, diesel fuel, to the components that go in for planting, hydrous ammonia, and all the other things like that. And of course, nobody cares. Okay, but who does care is the farmer, who's going to be forced to either sell his farmland, and unfortunately, they're selling to China because China is willing to overpay for it because they want to control the food supply. So in 20 years, this will be the CCP of the USA. Okay. Again, you don't think that can happen? Well, look at your leaders. Look at the globalization that they're trying to put on here. Okay. We've had the end of the world being called by climate since 1989. Okay. And I'll show you articles that prove that fact, that they were telling us the world was going to end in a year because of climate change. Well, now it's 2024. I don't see the world collapsing yet. I see the economy collapsing. I see the people collapsing. And I see a recession again. But of course, nobody cares because those that got don't give a shit about those that don't. Okay. And of course, it's amazing. There's a big article out about how the IRS struck gold, finding $1 billion in tax dodgers. Well, if they found $1 billion, there's probably 10 billion. Okay. And of course, they can start by looking on Capitol Hill at those who are stealing from us. Okay. They can start by looking within the deep state. Okay. And finding out who's stealing from us, because certainly the imbecile that's in the office is not running this country. Okay. So, and certainly I am a believer in the deep state. I am a believer that there's hidden powers behind the government and that are really pulling the strings, because why else would we still be at war in Ukraine? Why else would we still be supporting the war in Ukraine? But again, that's just one man's opinion. Okay. But I think your fast food chains are in trouble. I think your jobs are in trouble. And of course, we continue to hear about what a great thing AI is. And I think you're looking at a problem with AI, which people do not like to talk about. And the power to compute AI is very similar to the power when people were trying to compute and to create Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And of course, we don't have enough power. Okay. This is one of the problems that nobody wants to talk about. Okay. We don't have a power grid that could handle anything like what they're trying to do with the AI world. And I'm against AI only because we don't have jobs to replace the jobs that AI is going to replace. But forget about what my opinion on AI is. But remember, my fact here is that the power to run those things is draining the power from this country. We can't create enough power to continue to grow on this AI, just as we talked about in the crypto world and the amount of energy that it takes to run those things. So I think it's a problem. It would be like the intersection of artificial intelligence and net zero. All right. But, we now have, of course, we're getting closer to the election, and RFK has gotten on a number of ballots. Again, this is one of the other problems in this country, okay, is that the average guy who wants to run, okay, can't get on all the ballots. Now, this is another, to me, this is criminal. This is a bad situation because, again, it goes back to you got two choices, okay, and if you don't like those two choices, too bad, okay. Now, again, I think we should have the ability to have RFK on the ballot, whether you like him or not. I think he should be on all 50 states' ballots. Why do just the Republicans and the Democrats run this country? Why can't the citizens run this country, which is based on the Constitution, not based on where we've ended up at? Because we are so far from what the Constitution says that it's ridiculous what we're going on. Of course, it's no different than the assholes of the Federal Reserve that are so far off their mandate that was created. Of course, the Federal Reserve was created to screw the average middle class and to decline the value of the dollar so the wealthy could continue to get wealthier. But that's a story for another day. But, they talk about inflation, and consumers have found, there's a big headline, consumers found some relief in June with the CPI number. Okay, well, this is the silent killer. This is what we talked about in the headline. And again, inflation isn't coming down. Okay, until that number becomes negative, inflation is not coming down. All it means is that 0.1% lower, which I guarantee you will be revised next month, but 0.1% lower of a rising inflation. So we're still, that the government admits to, at 3% inflation. If you believe that, again, I got a couple of bridges I can say you, because I can tell you this, in 2021, gasoline was about $2 a gallon, $2.10, $2.20, depending on where you lived. Now gasoline is $4 a gallon. And considering that fossil fuels represent about 80% of our economy, from the plastic water bottles you drink out of, to the trucks that deliver the goods, to the cars you drive, to the running of your air conditioning, to the running of your tractors, to the running to the store. Again, there's on and on and on and on and on of a list of things that, of course, are a big part of this inflationary cycle, which again was created by who? Oh, President Biden. Okay, his policies. Okay, now somebody's going to want to say, well, Trump created all this debt. Well, that was in place while Trump was in office, and we weren't paying these prices. So you can say whatever you want, and you can look me square in the eye and tell me that I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, we weren't paying these prices, and if we would be producing our own oil, okay, for our citizens and had more than a 15-day supply in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, we would be paying $2 a gallon for gas again. And I can tell you that the average American would find a huge relief across the board, and your goods and services would be a hell of a lot less, okay? But again, we go back to the potential rate cut. Well, I'm going to call bullshit and no rate cut forthcoming unless we are in a recognized recession, okay? You can take that 93% and shove it up your ass like the rest, okay? Because there's only two ways there's a rate cut. The banks are in trouble, which is a real possibility because 600 regional banks are already claiming problems, or we're going into a recession, or it's a political move. I don't see Jerome Powell making a political move, so I'm going to call early, 2 months early, bullshit on a rate cut. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bubba Horowitz. It is Sunday, July the 14th. We're going to stop out here for a break and come back with our market commentary right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. What's up, kids? Well, of course, I always talk about our sponsors, and unfortunately, we lost a sponsor this week. But again, I have to protect my members. Okay, but in the meantime, TRADIER Brokerage is one of our sponsors, and of course, again, they're brokers. I have other brokers, but again, for $10 a month, how can I pass up on a TRADIER? Plus the fact that we have the ability to automate through TRADIER. Okay, so our automation is done. Okay, and again, with every one of our programs except the hedging, the automation comes for free. Hedging is a licensing fee, but again, you can take care of your portfolio and everything automated, all for $10 a month flat in brokerage fees. In the meantime, scrolling down the side, you can see there, and of course, Capital Trading Group, which is partners in a couple of our programs and does all of our letter of direction trading. They do a great job. So we've got two great brokerage partners, and then don't forget about our high school program. And for those of you who might have signed up for the Wealth Charts event on Friday the 19th, I will not be doing that. Someday I'll explain, but I will not be doing that event. So again, if you have signed up for it, you won't be seeing me. In the meantime, again, don't forget about our high school program, showing on the bottom. And now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horowitz. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horowitz. And of course, interesting week in the markets last week. I mean, you were sailing along, singing a song, and the markets were going up, and they were going up, and they were making new highs, and then all of a sudden Thursday showed up, and they clocked them. And then Friday showed up, and they actually made a new high on Friday, a new all-time high, and then came back. You saw a dramatic move in the Russell at the end of the week, which I would call short covering. In the meantime, as you know, I give you our positions, but this does not mean that these will be my positions tomorrow. Okay? I'll be either in the direction that I'm giving you now, or we will be flat. We won't be opposite. All four major indices are long now. Okay, the Russell was the last to turn, which after the massive rally, so we would be long all four major indices. Okay, in the dollar, which we don't trade, and again, I remind you, it's not because we're concerned about the dollar. It's a strictly dollar and cents issue that is going to be which you have to pay for commission to trade in New York, which I don't feel like getting ripped off. But the dollar, we would be short, and the dollar had a lower week. The euro currency, we are long. Okay. In the bonds and the notes, we are long both, which is counter to what I think, because bonds and notes, I think, should be going lower and interest rates going higher. But we'll see. Again, this is just a trade. The yield curve is still well inverted. Interest rates are still high. Mortgage rates are still high, and I don't see that changing again. And I call bullshit again on a 93% chance of a rate cut. In the meantime, Bitcoin continues to struggle a little bit. We continue to be short. In the metals, gold and silver, we are long. Interesting action, but we're long gold and silver, and I think there is some real movement coming here. Platinum, which we don't trade, we would be long. But again, we don't trade anymore, and that's a liquidity issue. that I can't recommend it I have too many members to recommend platinum and have it trade. I do trade it myself occasionally, but we are long. Copper, we are long. In the grain markets, the poor grain markets, they just keep getting hammered. A WASDE report on Friday, it was the slowest movement I've ever seen off of a WASDE report. But in the meantime, we're short the grains across the board. In the meats, we don't trade them anymore. I'm still short cattle, fortunately down about 3.5% last week. And I'm still long hogs, which were up last week. But again, I just think cattle, this is not necessarily a trend trade. It's more of a trade about prices. And I think that cattle is too high. And again, it's held up at these record highs for a while. And I've seen this movie before, and I'm going to stay short for a while. I do have an exit just in case. And of course, hogs, I'm going to stay long for a while. In the energy markets, natural gas, we're short. And we're getting to that time of year, it's already July, that I'm not going to want to be short natural gas at these prices. But right now, we're still short. That is still the trend. Crude oil, we're still long, even with a little bit of a sell-off on Friday. Look, I think crude oil is going a lot higher. I think part of what you're seeing is a little bit of maybe political maneuvering by Saudi Arabia, because certainly who would they like to see in office? Of course, they'd like to see the imbecile that's still there. So in the meantime, in the softs, okay, which we are eliminating from our portfolio, I will cover them, and I will tell you the direction, but we are no longer trading them as they expire out. We are still short cocoa. We are still short cotton. Sugar, we're going to reverse out, which will make us short, but we're going to be out of sugar now, so no more sugar. Okay, in coffee, we're still long. In OJ, which we're out of, we would be long, but we're not in it. We don't trade it anymore. So again, that's really the story. We're giving up the softs. They just don't carry the liquidity we'd like to. And we're going to step out here for a break, and we're going to come back with our commentary right here on Bubba's Bottom Line. We'll be right back. Well, kids, again, I'll just give you the quick sponsors. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel, but quickly, it's TRADIER Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, no event for well charts this week, and of course, our high school program, scrolling on the sides, on the bottom. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horowitz. It is Sunday, July the 14th, and, well, I'm really sick and tired of the political system, and I'm sick and tired of political parties. I mentioned earlier that RFK has gotten on ballots, but has been delayed on getting on many of the others and prevented from. And I think we make a mistake in this country by identifying as a Republican or a Democrat. I mean, I'm a true libertarian. I would vote for either side if they had the right issues. I'm certainly want to be more fiscally responsible. I'm certainly sick and tired of government pissing away my hard-earned money. But I think that we make a mistake. I think that you should remember that you're Americans first. You're not a Republican first. You're not a Democrat first. You're an American first. And if you really want to do what's best for this country, again, the election, hey, vote for whoever you want. Get off your fat ass and vote, but vote for whoever you want. I mean, I think if you vote for Joe Biden, you're making a mistake. But again, I can't criticize you. I would never criticize anybody for their opinion or for who they voted for. But I think you really have to look at the country and look at what's happened to this country. And you can say, there's many that'll say, oh, but the stock market is at record highs. Well, only 10% of the population really participates in the stock market. Homeless has never been as high as we have here. Starvation has never been as high as we have here. You look around the globe, and this is part of our responsibility as well, there's never been more starvation, okay, going on, and famine, okay? So again, we can talk about all we want, but I think what you need to remember is you're an American first, and how we handle this country. And first of all, we are being limited by choice because, again, if you're an RFK fan, he can't get on all the ballots. So immediately, he's working at a disadvantage. And not that an independent's going to ever win because everybody is so brainwashed. The media is so full of shit that again, I don't care which side of the media you look at, they're all full of crap, okay? But I think most likely the forthcoming election in November is probably the biggest election of our time. And I think that this is going to make a big decision on whether we're going to be part of the Communist Party or we're going to go back to capitalism and have a free market. I think that, again, a vote for President Biden is a vote for communism, globalism, socialism, Name whichever one you want, but it ain't capitalism. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for staying in the war in Ukraine so they can continue to drain money from the taxpayer and line their own pockets. Again, those are facts. I mean, either party is in war, likes to keep war going because it lines their pockets. Well, right now the party in power is the Joe Biden party. Okay, and again, look, you vote for whoever you want, but I think that it's time that we look at things fiscally responsible. It's time for us to decide if we really want to go the direction that this country is headed, because you're paying more, you're earning less, okay, you're spending more. There's more people with massive credit card debts. There are so many issues that go unexplained and unnoticed. And of course, wait till the homeless start showing up in your neighborhood. Wait till the people that aren't working. Wait till the fast food places shut down. Wait till there's no jobs. And then tell me what a great job they did in this country with this administration. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bubba Horowitz. Have a great weekend, everybody. As always, I thank you. And of course, we'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update.